Alright guys, I've got another budget guitar review for you today. This is the $60 no-name brand guitar. And yeah, normally I would tell you the brand right up front, but as you can see, there's a blank headstock here. You can just kind of create your own. Now this is a sort of copy of the Ibanez RG as far as the body shape and even the shape of the headstock. And you know, the pickup layout and that kind of thing, but obviously this is not anywhere near the quality of an actual Ibanez RG, but the price is right. For 60 bucks, it's a playable guitar. You can't really go wrong. But let's check out the specs here. We've got a 24 fret rosewood fretboard. It's a maple neck. Now something I really want to point out is these are not small frets. A lot of import, really cheap guitars have really tiny frets. These are actually nice and big, which I was really impressed with. We've got a humbucker, single humbucker control layout, a vintage style tremolo, kind of like what you would find on a Strat, and then one volume and one tone and a 5-way selector switch. And the body is basswood. Of course, we've got a cavity back here for adjusting your springs for the tremolo. Now this has kind of a transparent orange burst finish on it, and you can see the wood grain through the finish, which is really nice. But the guitar also comes in a few other finishes. I've seen some standard colors like black, red, blue, and I believe a yellow. Another nice thing about this is that it's a very lightweight guitar. This would be very comfortable to play for a long period of time. But speaking of playing, let's go ahead and listen to how this sounds. Here are some playing clips. Alright, so after playing this thing, I have to say, you can feel that this is not a very expensive guitar. You know, the way the back of the neck is finished, it's just kind of a matte finish, and even some of the finish sanding on the back of the headstock is not very well done. You know, and the finish is pretty good, but you can see a few spots where it kind of dips into the wood grain a little bit. But what's really great about this guitar is they spent the money where it really counts, and that is basically on the frets and the fretboard. That is actually really good. I was really impressed with that. Again, like I mentioned earlier, they didn't use cheap, tiny frets on this guitar. These are actually pretty nice and big, and the frets are cut in enough from the side of the fretboard that you're not rubbing up against any sharp fret ends. So this is a totally comfortable guitar to play. Now, even though they kind of copied an Ibanez RG, they did not copy the Ibanez neck profile. This is actually a pretty chunky neck. I think it's even a little bit thicker than a Strat, not quite Les Paul territory, but definitely thicker than I would have expected. Now, one thing I don't really like about the control layout is they put the 5-way selector switch right next to the volume knob, and you could even jam your finger in there if you weren't careful. So that's one thing I don't really like about that. Also, the selector switch is kind of rough. It's kind of, it's hard to flip it back and forth. Also, as you would expect on a guitar in this price range, the pickups are not really that good. They're pretty weak in terms of output, and also they're not wax potted, so you're going to have feedback problems if you're playing at a really high volume with a lot of gain. Now, another downside to this guitar, and this is actually pretty important, was that this guitar was not set up at all when I got it out of the box. So the action was very high, and also the intonation was not set, which is pretty strange. I had to go through and adjust the individual saddles to get the intonation correct on this guitar before I did the demo. It's pretty odd that that didn't come set up ahead of time, and it's not a deal breaker because it's easy to fix that with just like a Phillips head screwdriver. You can adjust all these screws down here, but you have to be aware of it before you order the guitar. If somebody's looking for an extra guitar to mess around with or a fun project guitar, this would be great, but it might not be a good first guitar because of those extra adjustments you're going to have to make when you first get it. Now, all that being said, you have to remember this is a $60 guitar, so just the fact that you can plug it in and it plays is pretty amazing. As always, I'll put some links in the video description to where you can find this guitar, and please let me know if the links don't work. Sometimes these guitars sell out and I have to put new links or find new eBay sellers or something like that, so I try to keep up on that stuff, but definitely let me know if you see any problems. But yeah, when it's all said and done, for 60 bucks, this is pretty hard to beat. Alright guys, as always, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. I'll talk to you soon.